Welcome to the Venly Expert Talks, where we aim to inspire Web3 builders with great stories from great minds. I'm your host, Alexandra Ahrens, and I'd like to remind you that you can always reach out to us on Twitter, Discord, or LinkedIn with ideas for the podcast and questions for our guests. Welcome to episode 36 of the Venly Expert Talks. Today I'm joined by Renatto Garro, CTO and COO of Nebulai, along with Stefano Gulbalis, Chief Innovation Officer of Nebulai. And we are going to be talking about why they are so excited about decentralized marketplaces. So first off, I'd like you guys to introduce yourselves a little bit. So Renatto, maybe you'd like to start. Can you tell us how you got started in all of this and kind of what led you to where you are today?
Yeah, thank you, Alex. Super happy to be here with you guys today. And my name is Renatto Garro. I'm one of the co-founders at Nebulai, CTO, CEO of Nebulai. And we got started in blockchain really around 5 years ago, before everybody started coming down to Miami and started working on a lot of like the blockchain startups that we see today. So both Stefano and I started like working with a couple projects that were related to smart cities first, and then another project that was kind of like a social media platform that was integrating blockchain components into it. But I've been in the technology business and industry for 15 years. I'm also the open source lead at Microsoft and have been always in the big tech world. So blockchain has been one of the passion projects I've been super excited about. And since, early back in the days when Bitcoin came out, I invested a little bit on Bitcoin and then sold too soon. So I regret that. But anyways, now I'm like, super excited to see where it has come together and like all the ecosystem that has grown from being just one, big blockchain into now having like different options for different projects. So now, we've been in business for about a year and a half, and we're looking to launch our marketplace towards the end of the year.
Wonderful. Congrats.
Thank you.
And Stefano, I'd love to hear what brought you into this.
Yeah, hi. My name is Stefano Gulbalis. Like Renatto said, we met a while ago. We were trying to bridge custom blockchain technologies into a smart city and a social media platform, and now Nebulai. I do believe Nebulai brings a lot of social value to the individual, and we bring a solution to market that can be invaluable to people who's trying to look at contracting. I've been in the industry for about 30 plus years, working for the largest companies. And I think blockchain is a game changer in the business. So that's why we're building Nebulai. I've been with companies such as Capgemini, Verizon, has that Lucent, Avaya, it's Bell Labs Innovation. And I think I'm happy to bring this value to the community. Hopefully we can launch the company at the end of the year and be successful on that. Thank you very much for the opportunity to meet with you.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. Then, let's jump right into it. So you guys want to talk about decentralized marketplaces. That's a rather large topic. So maybe we can start out with talking about some of the differences between centralized and decentralized markets.
Yeah, I can take on that one, Alex. So centralized marketplaces is what we're used to working with today, right? We all use eBay, Amazon, and other marketplaces that we see online, right? Basically, any e-commerce website is a centralized marketplace. And any application that we use today in Web 2, Uber, and so on are centralized platforms. So the main difference is that on a centralized marketplaces, first, you have a single entity or a few set of individuals or companies managing the end-to-end marketplace, right? So then they operate it, they handle rules and regulations on the marketplace, they can set fees lower or higher, they can allow people or buyers and sellers to come in the platform or not. So anything that has to do with the governance, how it's operated, how the fees are charged, everything is handled by basically one entity in most cases. on a decentralized marketplace, you really are decentralizing, right? That kind of like decision making, and then you really have a distributed set of people and entities that can operate the marketplace in a decentralized way, which we believe it makes it more fair for the users of the marketplace because. For example, like let's take for example rules and regulations of a marketplace, like who comes in the marketplace or not. That can be decided by really the users of the marketplace to the benefit of the marketplace itself. On fees, for example, when you decentralize the way that fees are processed and everything else using, for example, the smart contracts, you're able to also have lower fees normally than traditional marketplaces. And then that allows for the marketplace to even have, let's say, more benefits to the users that are transacting on the marketplace. And then you have also the ability to have kind of like, let's say, kind of like share the gains from the marketplace, because all the users of the marketplace can also be a part of the marketplace, have a stake on the marketplace. And if the marketplace keeps growing, then everybody could benefit from the economies of scale of the marketplace and other economic benefits that come from that. So we believe that the marketplaces and decentralized marketplaces will transition more and more into this decentralized model. Slowly over time, first introducing some pieces of decentralization, and then eventually moving to being more and more decentralized. So yeah, in a nutshell, that's what we see as benefits of marketplaces, decentralized marketplaces.
Yeah, and to add to Renato, most marketplaces are vendor specific. So if you are not part of that organization and you are competing with that, you will never have a chance to present your product in that marketplace. We're vendor agnostic, and that's what makes us different, right? It allows other technologies and innovation to be able to be presented, whether so if they're competitive to IBM or Amazon or something like that, that technology will not be allowed to be part of the marketplace. A decentralized marketplace becomes a democratized solution for that.
Okay, good. So you've started to touch on it a little bit, some of the benefits of decentralized marketplaces, but besides that kind of profit sharing, maybe we can go over some of the other benefits. Can you tell me some of those and tell me why you're excited about it, basically?
Yeah. So besides the profit sharing, for example, on the decentralized decision making, you have, for example, like the ability to establish something like a DAO, right? Decentralized autonomous organization that would allow, let's say, all the members of the marketplace to be part of that decentralized autonomous organization. And then the decentralized marketplace could, for example, say to the DAO, hey, we're gonna ask for a vote on, let's say, if we change the fee structure, if we start removing, let's say, sellers or buyers from, based on specific criteria, or should we add this functionality to the marketplace, or should we remove this functionality? So then that kind of like feedback loop becomes part of the marketplace, and then the DAO can help you drive those decisions. And it's not only like, for example, in the centralized marketplaces, just like, for example, Facebook or Amazon or eBay deciding arbitrarily what they're going to do with the marketplace. It would be really the people using the marketplace also giving you feedback on what's the best thing to do for this marketplace. So that's one on governance. The other one on kind of like the ability to have the kind of like let's say share the gains from the marketplace is that you have people that could hold tokens, for example, for the marketplace, and then the tokens can be used as a utility tokens as well in the marketplace, so that, let's say, the marketplace can incentivize a specific usage on the marketplace to promote a specific behavior, right? So, for example, you can say, hey, I want to start promoting a specific sellers for coming in the marketplace and give you more tokens for coming in early, or maybe selling a specific products that are more profitable to the marketplace, or maybe promoting some of the things that maybe could be of social value, right? The marketplace can have a social value mantra, and then you can promote those things using tokens, or maybe other types of dynamics you want to promote. you can use tokens as a way to facilitate that, and also for people to transact within the marketplace. Similar to, let's say, point system from American Express or something like that. You're incentivizing buy gas, based on so many points that I'll give you on this brand, or buy this brand based on the promotion that I'm running on a monthly basis. So you can do those kind of things.
Yeah. So to Renato's point, tokenomics can impact the way people behave, right? Foster better behavior and so forth. But one very important part is intermediation. The way we're building the marketplace, we're removing intermediation. That becomes a big problem, because if you're a seller of products or solutions in the marketplace, you have intermediation, you got high fees, they control what you can do, what you cannot do, and that could impact your business, right? We're looking at removing intermediation. That technology allows us to provide a solution that removes the intermediation, becomes more fair, and democratize access to everybody within the marketplace. So, we're focused on creating a better solution for people to be able to transact business and services.
Okay, great. So with that, and maybe this kind of leads into it with the using tokenomics for promotions and leading your customers into certain transactions, but in what other ways do you see, or what additional ways do you see decentralized marketplaces affecting the way people do business?
Yeah, so there is new dynamics that can come from decentralized marketplaces. One of the different ways is like allowing really, like Stefano was mentioning, the decentralization piece is a very important thing, right? When you have a decentralized marketplace, really you're allowing for, let's say, party to party transactions using a smart contract, and that allows them to, first of all, have more transparency on the process, right? There's some additional benefits that come from this. For example, like when you perform a transaction on a traditional centralized marketplace, normally after you perform the transaction, you complete the transaction, there is a review process, which is, you review the buyer, the seller, and then that gets captured. So on, let's say, traditional marketplaces, that review process can be, let's say, not the most transparent, and then it can also be manipulated by both buyers and sellers and the party or the entity handling the marketplace, because they have all the incentives to make sure that everybody has 5 stars, right? So you can start buying from all the 5-star sellers. There is no incentive to have 0-star sellers or 0-star buyers, because there would be no transactions on the marketplace, right? So on a decentralized marketplace, all this review process can also be captured transparently on a decentralized reputation system, for example, where all this process can be more robust against tampering, manipulation, because all the transactions will be captured in the blockchain and it couldn't be modified. So that's another benefit. The other benefit is decentralized identities, right? So when you transact on the marketplace, you have to create a user account and so on, and you can maybe do KYC, right, to verify that you say who you say you are and so on. But on a decentralized marketplaces, you can do that, but also only publish the things that you want to publish on the marketplace using decentralized identities, so that you have more control of your data. Also, your data can be associated to you, and you can store it in your wallet instead of the marketplace keeping all your data, and then potentially you could monetize this data in other ways. So that gives you another benefit there: more privacy, more control of your data, the ability to somehow monetize this data you're creating on the marketplace. The other one for us is the arbitration. When you process a transaction on a marketplace, sometimes things don't go right, and then you may need to submit a claim, right? Because a buyer, let's say, didn't perform, didn't complete the payment to the terms, or they're lying that they didn't receive the services or goods or services, and the seller may not deliver the product on time, or whatever may be the case, right? So then there may be dispute on both sides. So on a decentralized marketplaces, you can handle that in a decentralized way, so that there is an let's say a non-arbitrary set of people that can handle that dispute objectively, instead of like being the centralized marketplace where they're going to handle it to the best of their interests, meaning that they're going to maximize profits for the marketplace. They don't really care about the buyer and seller too much. They care about like, how can I make money from this transaction and keep having repeat business from whatever is being disputed, compared to when it's a decentralized marketplace, you would have, an independent group of people looking at it objectively and deciding really who's right or who's wrong on that dispute. So I would say those are the things that we see as additional technical benefits, from centralized marketplaces. And I don't know, Stefano, you want to add?
Well, as part of decentralized identity, also we can afford to create a value to the stakeholders by creating a biasless ecosystem. If we can record skills and talent and they're pre-trusted. Therefore, removing identity and verifying that the talent and skills are there, you can remove information such as sex, age, color, person, and be trusted that that's going to be truthful when you presented that in your contract at that level. That's another value we can bring to the market. But to Renato's point, a decentralized marketplace is removing basically intermediation. Intermediation creates a lot of barriers. How much money you're going to make, how much you're going to profit, how they're going to pay you. It removes that barrier and allows for a peer-to-peer transaction to exist, versus the marketplace is not a peer-to-peer transaction. You're going through the marketplace to create the transaction. So, and blockchain brings that type of technology that otherwise is practically impossible to do, and brings value to society and the people that are going to be using the marketplace, all the stakeholders, from the seller to buyer, or for whatever people is going to be part of that. We're doing these transactions via smart contracts. So the smart contracts, the one that's protecting that transaction and how that can be generated and processed for frictionless payments, removing bias, and creating this democratic system between the buyer and the seller, so no one can abuse the system. I think we bring a differentiated value to market, and unlike any other process that's out there, we provide something that's unique and effective for the people that are participating in our system, ecosystem. I think Web 3.0 and blockchain provides an opportunity to create a solution that we cannot accomplish otherwise, because there's always intermediation and grid. Through this technology, we can remove that and create the value to the people that contribute in the marketplace.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, I want to point out, just side note for a second. So you guys mentioned that a lot of processes there, especially in what you were saying, Renato, are trustless, right? You don't have to rely on the other person at all. But then, Stefano, you mentioned that, in certain aspects, you do have to trust the person on self-reporting. What kind of mix, or how does that mesh in your mind, or what layers of security are in place that will protect the people on both sides of the transaction?
Like, you mean, for example, when we're talking about like reviews or reputation, or like
Sure.
how you're yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, so that's quite an interesting dilemma there, right? Because let's say even if the system, let's say, is more transparent and more tamper-proof and less able to be manipulated, humans are humans, and they're gonna do what they do, right? So then, if in the back end, let's say you and me, Alex, are transacting on this decentralized marketplace, on the Nebulai decentralized marketplace, and we get together and say, you know what, I'm gonna give you a 5-star review, and then you're gonna give me a 5-star review, and we have kind of like a side agreement outside of the system, right? You can manipulate it, right? But there is programmatic ways. You can start removing kind of like that type of, let's say, fraudulent transactions, and lowering, let's say, the ability for them to handle that by, for example, like promoting transactions that have been verified by not only a few set of individuals, but more set of individuals as more trustworthy. And really, let's suppose that you have a lot of friends, right? But over time, you're not going to have an infinite amount of friends, so that you can convince everybody that you're such a great professional, that you're transacting and you have 5 stars. Everybody. Plus, they're paying you money, right? So then they're putting kind of like a little bit of their money on the line. The other thing is, how can you integrate third-party providers into the verification process? So that's kind of like something that we're looking, and that's especially why we're in the technology industry for this marketplace, because all this has been already figured out. Like, for example, like most technology professionals can get a certification, and there is an API that you can use to verify with, like providers such as Oracle, Microsoft, Google, that you have the certification. So there is a way to verify that you in fact have the certification. You went through training, you took the certification. Or companies like Acclaim, or other companies that are certificate verifiers, we can verify that you in fact have those. So from that angle, at least you have third party verifiers that you can use to make sure that whoever is coming in the reputation system, they're getting vetted from the start. The other one we're looking at is for brand new users, because there's a challenge, right? Like, what happens, let's say I have certificates or certifications, and then I come in the marketplace, and then you can verify me. That's great. I can get all the jobs because I have all the certifications. But what happens to somebody that just came out of college, or maybe didn't go to college? They just want to get into start transacting on marketplace because they're really good at this, right? If you start removing these people from the ability to start transacting, you're creating bias, right? Because you're not allowing new emerging talent to come in the marketplace, and maybe they could be even better than somebody that has a lot of certification. So what we plan to do is basically allow for them to complete like microtransactions, so that then they start building up their reputation based on microtransactions. That it's kind of like an internship, right? Where you can say, hey, I want to start doing this smaller pieces of work for less money or for free, so that I can get the reputation that I need to start building up to have a more robust reputation, and then start transacting on bigger jobs later on. So that's how we're thinking about all these different loopholes that can be introduced on the reputation system.
Yeah, and besides that, the smart contract creates a value for all stakeholders, that if services are not delivered, you are not going to be paying something that has not been delivered contractually. So it allows for a different type of execution that otherwise could be problematic, right? It ties everybody's integrity in the process and makes sure that the integrity is maintained throughout the contract. So for the deliverable, the smart contract will not release funds until that process is completed. So the smart contract also can become a bearer of the reputation part. Once they're completed, the reputation gets recorded in blockchain, and that is basically impossible to change, because blockchain eventually is immutable, so you cannot change that specific recording. So,
yeah, okay. I think you brought up some interesting points there that actually I want to apply to my next question as well, which is how is decentralization, in this case, going to affect competition, and especially smaller businesses, and especially smaller businesses just starting out versus the visibility and the whatever you want to call it of businesses that have been in the game a little bit longer?
So it's going to be an interesting dynamic, because really you're going to have, the bigger businesses, we think, will become more and more decentralized, because you're going to have this new, let's say, new versions of the centralized businesses in a decentralized way, like a decentralized Uber, decentralized Amazon, decentralized eBay, and so on. And just the ecosystem itself is going to be so much more, is going to benefit so much more from working with decentralized marketplace that, they're going to have like customers leaving their platforms. So they're going to have to find a way to either be more decentralized, to have this kind of like different business model around what they're doing, which is at the end of the day, when you have a business like Uber, for example, like your business model is providing transportation services, right, or delivery services for whatever is your market, right? It's not the model like I have a centralized platform, I have a decentralized platform, I have a mobile platform. So really the underlying platform doesn't matter to them too much. It's like, are you, at the end of the day, what are you doing to provide this service, right? And we believe that they're gonna have to adapt to decentralized marketplaces, maybe become decentralized marketplaces. And for the smaller businesses, you're going to have really the ability for them to actually have more potential, right? Because let's imagine you had a decentralized Amazon today. A smaller business could have its own piece of the marketplace where they can be owners of their virtual space in the marketplace, instead of like relying on Amazon charging them all those high fees for selling on their platform, just going to the marketplace, right? Just going to the domain Amazon.com. And yes, it brings customers, and customers are always looking for products and services there. So it's easy for, let's say, sellers or smaller sellers to find buyers. But on the decentralized marketplace, you could do the same. And if it's well known and recognized, then it would be the same dynamic, but not as high fees, because it's decentralized, right? It's lower fees. The smart contract is really facilitating the transactions between the parties. So then we believe that the smaller businesses would have even a bigger economic gain from participating on decentralized marketplaces. On top of the fact that they could be part owners of it, they can participate on other aspects of the marketplace. So it's really, really a new dynamic, and then that could allow for like so all sorts of marketplaces from different like let's say niche markets to start like popping up, and we focus on technology and talent, but there may be other marketplaces that focus on like whatever may be, right? Sports goods, it could be shoes, it could be anything really. You could start building decentralized marketplaces for anything and bring an ecosystem of all these type of providers in your niche to create an ecosystem that can benefit from those new dynamics that we were talking about.
Yeah. So to add to Renato, decentralized marketplaces allow for also integration of different groups into a larger group. Unlike larger organizations have already pre-established their solution through smart contracts, we can have solution providers, gig economic workers be part of one larger smart contract, and allows for that crowdsourcing of talent. That's the right talent to be able to deliver solution you need to have. And the smart contract becomes a headless organization, the one that's not intermediating, for them to be able to work and get a fair pay and allow for this peer-to-peer transaction to happen. So it changes the dynamic, how traditionally you go to market. Also, it changes how the process goes, because if you have a lot of money, you can actually manipulate the process, and the legal system tends to be siding with people who can afford litigation, right? Whether buy or sell, it doesn't matter, but it's who has the money to be able to manipulate that. The smart contract basically digital transforms that legal system into a digitized format that allows for fairness on the process, and no one can abuse the process, right? It allows for an integration of the different talents and solution providers into a democratized process that allows to payment only when they have delivered the goods and services as expected by the smart contract. So it benefits everybody, the stakeholder in the smart contract, from the buyer and the seller. It leaves no one outside the market. Whereas in centralized, whichever has the power is whichever is going to take the candy and run with it, right? It's not necessarily a democratized system. It's a system that allows for the strongest to take over and run with it. Our system is looking at creating value to all the stakeholders, and allows for democratization of services and payment solutions as well. And also removing bias, because bias is a big issue, right? Whether you're a person working in India, South America, Europe, whether you're a female that's 60 years old, that's excellent in algorithms, and that fairness in payment has always been biased, and we're looking at removing that through the process we're creating.
Yeah, sounds like a dream come true. I can definitely hear some huge benefits to this whole system. But in the spirit of transparency, maybe you can also point out some of the downsides or setbacks that you see that go along with decentralized markets. And maybe along that line, why you think it might be tricky to get everybody moved to that system.
Yeah, so yeah, definitely it's a new model, right? So then really you have to have a lot of the pieces really well defined so that the model doesn't break as it evolves. If we break it into, let's say, governance, let's say economic incentives, and then maybe the operation of the marketplace. So like on governance, you have really a headless organization, right? Or over time, right? Because decentralized marketplaces will not be decentralized from the beginning. They will slowly start becoming decentralized, more and more decentralized. But let's say over time, how do you handle this transition from being centralized at the beginning, or mostly centralized, to more and more decentralized over time, introducing DAOs, introducing the decentralization of the ownership of the marketplace, the governance, and so on. And that across, like, a big set of people across the world, and with different mindset, mentalities, priorities. How do you remove, let's say, civil attacks from the ecosystem, like people trying to take advantage of having let's say, ownership of a good portion of the marketplace to benefit from other players in the marketplace. Those dynamics are things that they would have to be evolved over time and adapted. So on governance, big challenges there. On economic incentives, how do you create the right economic incentives for people to come in the marketplace in the first place and start using the platform versus going to a decentralized marketplace? And then how do you stick to your values over time? Because, right, as the marketplace grows, you would have, let's say, greedy founders may find loopholes and ways to, let's say, have the majority of the stake on the tokens, right, available for people to buy. There is ways to, let's say, benefit from just create the marketplace and keeping a hold of the majority of that. So then how do you really decentralize that from the beginning, right? And our model particularly is not to monetize the transactions that happen in the marketplace, is mostly to monetize the services that come around the marketplace. So we're trying to go after that, not monetize the marketplace itself like other platforms, which I'm not going to name. But that's a little bit of the mentality we have, right? Whether we stick to that, I think that's our core values, and we foresee that we would do it. But as more and more people come in the marketplace, then dynamics may change, right? So then how do we keep those economic incentives right from the beginning until the development of the marketplace? And the operational side, how do you develop a marketplace that, at the beginning will use blockchain technologies, but then you're also going to use cloud services. So that piece is centralized, right? Over time, you're going to start decentralizing into having compute, networking, storage, and the front end, the back end, everything decentralized and so on. But that's a slow process, right? And then sometimes you're also making the distinction between how feasible it is today and how user-friendly would it be and cost-effective versus being decentralized. Are you going to just decentralize for the sake of it, just the philosophy behind it? Or is there really technical benefits from decentralization from the operational side of the marketplace? And we try to just have the mentality of having the balance of, like, really what is the most cost effective, the most efficient, and the one that makes sense for the marketplace to keep operating, so that we can keep developing that over time. And some people are super, let's say, 100% pro decentralization and everything has to be decentralized. We're more of a hybrid, kind of like what works, and let's try to evolve from there. And I think that is challenging. But I think as technology evolves and decentralization becomes more and more accessible for more people, then more projects are going to be starting from decentralization on the technology stack layer easier than what it is today. Today, still a little bit more challenging than what it would be to create an app on the cloud, right? So yeah, those are big challenges we see when it comes to adoption of the marketplace.
Decentralization has definite advantages, but adoption is an issue, right? But the advantages are going to eventually surface, and people are going to realize why decentralization has to exist. We're creating a system that needs to happen because intermediation becomes a big issue for most people, especially if you're trying to build a business, you're a gig economic worker, small business, or large business as well. Because usually the larger fish is the one that intermediates or controls the dynamic. So decentralization allows to create that and provides integrity in the process. If you look at technology and technology evolution, we started Web 1.0 and people at the beginning, doing transactions on the web is going to be impossible. It's feasibly impossible. Security is going to be a big issue. If you look now, what transactions are you not doing through the web, right? So we're at that stage that at the beginning of this decentralization, and it takes time for people to realize the benefits. But once they realize the benefits, and it's going to outweigh the worries, right? And they're going to start moving to the platform. So we do believe we have a difficult road at the beginning, but as the support around the world is opening more and more in decentralized systems, and people start realizing the benefits, and that will help us grow the business. Decentralization is a natural growth in where the market's going in technology. So we're just creating a solution where people can work out of, and hopefully it becomes the future work, right?
Yeah, very good. Very good. Cool. Then I also want to ask, because we are where we are today, and we're currently obviously in the middle of a bear market. So what does that look like for you guys right now? How do you feel that affects the adoption of decentralized markets or the development of decentralized markets right now? And what are you kind of looking forward to, or what gives you hope during this time?
Yeah, so right now, I mean, this is my personal view on this, right? But I believe that there has been a lot of, let's say, capital that has come into the ecosystem just for the sake of making money. They have been inflating a lot of the offerings that are out there, right? And we haven't been focusing on really what is a true utility blockchain project. Like, we have been focusing more on how much money can you make in 6 months, in 3 months, in a week, and how can I buy the tokens early on so I can get rich a year from now, things like that. So money has been coming in the space for the wrong reasons, not looking at how is this platform really adding value to society, and really does it make sense to be decentralized in the first place or not, and how can this token be used for the marketplace. And what I still don't understand is like how, and this is, I think it's going to be a little bit controversial, but how do people have been raising money, right, on tokens before having something to show for, and just the promise of anything. And in a traditional way, it's a very different dynamic. You have to start showing progress. You have to show your MVP. You have to show your production, traction, users, revenue, and so on. So that allows you to raise more and more capital. On the blockchain side, people started coming in with a white paper and then started raising a ton of money from tokens. So I think that has inflated prices. So now I think we're coming in a correction, and then we're gonna transition into focusing more and more on projects that have true utility for not only the Web3 space, because now people are looking at the Web3 space, and as an isolated ecosystem. Technology is not isolated. Technology is going to integrate. Technology is going to transition, and our solution, for example, is a hybrid solution between Web 2 and Web 3. So you could come from the Web 2 world, let's say, and then use the marketplace, even if you're a Web 2 company, or if you are a Web 3, you can also use the platform and benefit from different aspects of it. Compared to people like saying, oh, we're going to create a Web3 platform and it's just going to behave the way it behaves based on the Web3 ecosystem, like we're creating a brand new world, right? So those are the things that we're navigating right now, which is interesting, and we're focusing on building the platform. We started like developing the platform not too long ago. So because we did a crowdfunding on Net Capital, which is if you guys also want to look into our crowdfunding offering, you can go to netcapital.com/companies/Nebulai, and you will be able to find the offering and help us raise money for this decentralized market we're building, and help us, accelerate the development of the platform. But yeah, we're focusing on building the platform. We're focusing on bringing early adopters, that are interested already on using the platform for different aspects of their businesses. And then from there, start scaling up the platform and hopefully launch the MVP by the end of the year. So that's where we stand. I think, this is going to transition, is going to allow us to focus, like I said, on utility projects. And then let's say it's like a survival of the fittest, right? The best ones are going to survive and they're going to thrive. And the fat is going to be trimmed from the ecosystem. So we believe good quality projects, not everything, but most of them will remain. And I think it's a bright world ahead as we transition from this market.
Yeah, to Renato's point, bear markets are not necessarily helping, but at the same time, the migration to Web3 is inexorably moving forward, right? And we're working in that space. We're hoping that as the bear market settles down, we're going to be able to capture this movement and collect organizations that are looking at benefiting from decentralized solutions. We are not crypto, we're blockchain. So crypto has suffered a big crash, and I think it's going to recover. In 2018, we had another crypto winter and recovered again. And crypto is a use case of blockchain, and we're working on blockchain. So crypto is to a planet as blockchain is to the universe. So we're working in the universe that develops that technology to allow decentralization, integrity, biasless, frictionless transactions that allow for people to work in the next generation solution for the future work. So, I believe the market's difficult, but hopefully we can continue and thrive in this space as this is a progression of the next generation of business and technology ecosystems.
Perfect. All right, guys. At this point, I would like to ask if there's anything you'd like to plug. You've already done a little plug for your crowdfunding, but if there's something else you'd like to shout out now.
Yeah, so I would say we also launched the Nebulai Talent DAO, which is a really, really cool, interesting piece of the whole project, which is a decentralized community of Web3 talent that can assemble together from around the world to be able to benefit from having the community itself, learning from the community, having other learning opportunities, developing new Web3 technologies, and finding new ways to monetize the talent through their own mediums, or maybe through the Nebulai Decentralized Solutions and Talent Marketplace, and also as a community that will help us to be this feedback mechanism for the marketplace to keep evolving. So if you're interested in joining the Nebulai Talent DAO and you're in Web3 or interested in joining us on this journey, you can go to nebulai.com/talent-DAO, and you will be able to download the Talent DAO manifesto, which explains kind of like our mantra and philosophy behind the DAO and what is that we see as the future here for this DAO, which is quite interesting. One of the things that we envision, for example, for Nebulai is a future where the decentralized marketplace becomes kind of like a marketplace of human programmable interfaces. Basically, like having developers offer their services or their skills through the marketplace, through APIs, so that they can interact with both humans and systems in a programmatic way, similar to cloud services. Where you're a system, you can go to the Nebulai marketplace. You can say, I want to provision X number of hours of this particular task or so on dynamically, and then you have really people from around the world that are able to complete the task on demand, and they can take it on a first in, first out basis and get paid for it dynamically on as they complete the task immediately. So that's kind of like the future we imagine, and this Talent DAO will help us achieve that future. So I would say that, and then of course, also going back to the Net Capital fundraising, go to netcapital.com/companies/Nebulai, and we hope that you guys join us for the ride.
Wonderful. Great. Yeah, Stefano, do you have something to add?
Renato, thank you very much, Alex, for the opportunity to talk to you guys. Please visit our Net Capital, and we're looking forward to work with investors. And appreciate the opportunity to talk to you guys as well.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on. It's been a joy. My very, very last question, though, before we end, I have to ask everybody, who do you think we should have on Venly Expert Talks next?
That's it. Have you spoken to? We have, I think, somebody really representative of the Miami community that is well known. Maybe it could be Benny Picala. If you haven't met him, we can make an intro. And I think that maybe there could be other members that we can refer to.
Yeah, cool.
Or George Cortez, which is really famous here in Miami, running the Miami community on Web3. I think he could be interesting.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah, then I will look forward to that. Cool. All right, then. Thanks again, guys. Really appreciate your time and your expert opinions.
Thank you, Alex. We appreciate it, and have a great day, everybody.
Thank you.
If you like today's episode, please rate, follow, or subscribe on whatever platform you're listening on. And if you really like our content, join our Discord community, where there's always good conversation, exciting news, and live AMAs. Thanks for listening.